Chapter 61. You want to play tricks on me, right? You are listening at Audio. Set was just a nobody in the fighting ring at first, but he has brute strength and is extremely durable. Seti has no formal fighting training and is a pure wild boy, but his raw strength and ferocity alone were enough. Like a battering ram, he overturned skilled opponents one after another and developed a fighting style that was unique to him. Set now rules the lawless land of Ionia with an iron fist, and he will never allow his once poor and lonely life to return. Black Chi. Your kid seems to have a lot of experience during this period. Why can you use it as capital for exchange? Logically speaking, it is colorless, but with the deepening of proficiency and various reasons, this thing finally appeared in black. The scientific name should be armed color hockey. As for why don't you try it? Sometimes words don't make sense, and practice can best explain everything. Try it? It's just what I want. Set's heroic spirit is something for fighting, so the energy Oran uses for trading must be the same, and Set longs for fighting in his bones. To a certain extent, he has long wanted to be with this person who always appears next to his mother. The guys had a fight. First of all, let's agree that you are not allowed to complain to my mother. Otherwise, there will be no need to discuss anything. The raised corner of Seti's mouth stopped abruptly. He didn't worry about anything except his mother. Olan had such a trick to drain the fire. Thinking of my mother's lost and sad expression was even worse than killing him. Don't worry, I'm not that bad. You are a man, let's go. This is not a suitable place. There is a place of mine nearby where we can have a good conversation. Your venue is near your mother's house. It's called Darkness Under the Lamp. There is a construction site for building houses next to it. I usually say that I work there. Let's go, hurry up. If you can't finish it this time, you may not know when the next time will be. The body in Olan's dream is physical. Normally, it will not disappear inexplicably before his body wakes up. Heimerdinger's collapse was caused by Lulu's random output of magic, so Olan suddenly disappeared from there. Theoretically, he can go anywhere before his body wakes up, but as long as the pirate's body wakes up, he will definitely be forced to return. Well, you'd better never have a next time. Sorry, this is an uncontrollable factor. Under the leadership of Seti, Oran quickly arrived at an underground boxing ring. The surrounding audience held up the lottery tickets in their hands and roared crazily. They were even more excited than the two people on the ring. Boss Seti. The steward on the side became very frightened when he saw Seti suddenly returning here, as if he had done something wrong. Get my private practice field ready, and it will be none of your business after that. The steward responded and trotted to the side, while Seti walked towards the ring where a boxing match had just ended. You can do it yourself, I'll warm up first. As the audience cheered even more enthusiastically, Seti threw his coat aside and then jumped into the ring. You guys come together. When Set arrived at his private training ground, his fists were still stained with blood, his opponent's blood. Now he was completely excited. Sidilir, are you ready? I won't be merciful if you get into the ring. Let me see what domineering power you are talking about. Of course, it's better to say that you wasted too long on your warm-up. Come on, I'll let you do it first. Then I won't be polite. Bang! When Seti noticed that Oran was taking action, Oran quickly moved his body and hit Seti's chin with an uppercut. The fist wrapped in domineering energy hit the target, and Seti felt a huge force enter his body from his chin. Oran's force was much greater than Seti expected, but what shocked him even more was the touch on his chin. It didn't feel like a fist, but more like an iron block. If Olan wasn't wearing only a vest now, he would have suspected that Olan was equipped with some kind of metal gloves. Interesting, this is what makes it interesting. Durability is one of Seti's talents. After receiving a punch from Oran, Seti almost didn't think much and hit the opponent with both fists at the same time. Oran's domineering range also expanded to his arms, which he crossed into a shield to block. Received Seti's heavy punch, clang. The finger tiger hit Olan's arm, making a weird sound like it hit a metal protective gear. Armed hockey, these are spears and shields belonging to the human body. After a little practice, it is easy to block sharp weapons with the body. I like this thing, Sidilir, the deal is established, but let me remind you first, if you want to be proficient in using my moves, getting beaten is a compulsory course, which requires strong endurance. Oran's arms that were strengthened by the weapon color did not even leave any bruises, which meant that Set learned this and would not leave wounds during fights. This way his mother won't worry when she sees him. In this black boxing ring, weapons are not prohibited. Set was not in the habit of wearing armor, so injuries were inevitable. Sharp spears are good, but Seti now appreciates the domineering shield side more. What a coincidence, the practice of domineering is the same. Okay. Let's have a good time tonight. Pause, my time is limited. If I don't seize the time to exchange practice methods, I may have to wait a long time next time. Seti's movement was forcibly interrupted. Originally, Olan was the one who proposed the exchange, but now his own needs are even higher. Oran piqued Seti's interest and then played with him for a while, but what Oran said was an objective fact, and Seti could only endure the frustration. You. Okay, you've already thought about it, right? Each one gets what he needs, so do you want to change it or not? Change. Seti said this word through gritted teeth, and exchanged preliminary practice methods with Oran in great detail, and made an appointment for further study. It is unknown what kind of mood Set is feeling now, but after Oran disappeared, Set single-handedly challenged the entire field of players, and finally left here angrily. Deliberate punch, got it. On Daudu Island, Olan woke up and recorded Seti's boxing skills on paper. There were no fixed moves or methods, but the actual combat effect was very good. This kind of moves is more suitable on this sea. It has some similarities with domineering, and should be able to blend together well. Riley, this move can be considered tailor-made for you. After practicing the weapon color to a certain extent, you can achieve external damage and internal damage, and deliberately punch and absorb damage to increase the power. The amount of weapon color is limited, and each attack or defense will consume this amount. Deliberate punches can integrate the chi that should have been consumed into a new cycle. This effect is not a simple superposition like 1+1. But a qualitative change. Research, teaching, exercise. The tale of 1489 gradually passed in this life, and time soon came to 1490, while Oran was observing his research results in the new laboratory. Kate suddenly brought new news. Olan. A warship has landed from the port, and it seems to be here to find you. Chapter 62 Amorphous Combat Body Mercury. Zach, please read on. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 62 Amorphous Combat Body Mercury. Zach, please read more. Warship. What are its characteristics? There is a word crane written on the sail, and the rest is no different from an ordinary large warship. There are all kinds of pirate ships. Although the Navy's warships have the same style, apart from the differences in firepower and troop configuration, they also occasionally add some personal decorations. Depending on the military rank, a colonel can command warships to sail alone, while a lieutenant general will have his own exclusive warship. Generals can decorate the ships according to their own preferences. Garp installed a dog head on the bow of the ship. For famous generals, this can also increase the deterrent effect against pirates. As for the decoration of the word crane, there is no doubt that only their chief staff officer in the Navy would use this style of warship. Is this crane? They do take it seriously. Ever since Feld mentioned the idea of the Navy to Oran, Oran has been paying attention to this issue and had several subsequent conversations with the Navy. There are regular sales channels for ordinary prosthetic parts. When the prosthetic body appeared, someone in the underground world tried to make some magical modifications to Olan's prosthetic body, but they didn't understand the core technology, and what they ended up with was completely different. The prosthetic limb that was originally as dexterous as a human hand has been turned into a bulky zombie version. It is very cumbersome to use, and it is no different from those who have lost their arms and directly attached an axe or hung a gun. Olan's point about the low difficulty level of the prosthetic body is the installation. If he wants to change the parts he designed, that would be a big project. But no matter what, the signs of transformation have begun to appear. The Navy also has its own scientific research force, and naturally it has tried to carry out internal transformation. but the effect is not ideal, and it always feels like something is missing. They could carry out modifications, but the cost could not be reduced, so in the end they found the developer of Oran. In fact, there have been some episodes before. Now Vegapunk has been officially incorporated and a punk-restricted area has been established in Punkhazad, so the Navy immediately looked for Vegapunk. Isn't this Olan's work? He's better at this than me, and I don't have time to waste on something I may not necessarily be able to handle well. A certain degree of autonomy was also a condition negotiated by Vegapunk when it was incorporated. This was just the Navy's idea, not a direct order from the world government, so Vegapunk rejected the matter, but just because Vegapunk didn't take the job doesn't mean that everyone doesn't take it. Hey, is it something that belongs to that guy in Olan? Leave it to me. I can meet your needs. Caesar took the initiative to take over the job, and his blind confidence also gained the trust of the Navy. After all, they are core members of the same team, and the two famous people are both geniuses, so this should not be too bad. Then the Navy was hit hard by reality. In 2 months, Caesar's progress was 0, and all the things produced were scraps. At most, they could be used as bombs for suicide attacks. Instead of wasting money on him, it would be better to have a good talk with the developers. You and Fran go pick them up. I still have an experiment in hand that I haven't finished yet. Let's wait until it's over. Meow got it. Kate was indeed a former slave, but the risks of this status were very low. Most Tianlong people don't care much about escaped slaves. For this group, instead of wasting energy to find an escaped slave, it is better to seize the time to buy or catch a new one. In the original timeline, Tesoro who became the Golden Emperor, Ivankov who was imprisoned, Jambaru who followed Luo, and Hancock in the Shichibukai were all slaves of the Celestial Dragons, but even if Ivankov was arrested and taken into Impel Down, no one noticed it, even Fisher Tiger, the man who broke into Mariajoya and freed a large number of slaves, did not disclose the information that he was originally a Draco slave when the Navy wanted him. The Draco did not inform the Navy of this at all. Coupled with the widespread face blindness in this sea, if you change your clothes and grooming habits, no one will recognize her at all, unless he becomes the strongest slave in the eyes of the celestial dragons like the transformed bear. He will not attract attention at all. In the eyes of the Tianlong people, slaves are consumables. Even they themselves don't know how many slaves they have and whether they are still alive. Sister is it necessary for you to come in person on this trip? At the port of Daudu Island, the warship has docked, and a group of female soldiers walk down the steps. These are the troops directly under and they are all female soldiers. Following was a black-haired woman wearing a pink shirt under a navy coat, with a spider-shaped tattoo on her exposed thigh. Gion, those pirates have become more and more rampant recently. Zefa and Sengoku can't get away. That guy Garp is unreliable. I'm the most suitable person to come. I can not only ensure the safety on the road, but also express my feelings. The Navy values this PhD. Tsuru patiently explained the reason. Gion was her current deputy, a rear admiral at the Navy headquarters, the future Motosa, a naval officer with the qualification to be an admiral candidate. He has a very good relationship with her. He has always treated her as his own sister and nurtured her with his own hands. Mit's performance allowed the Navy to see the potential of the prosthetic body, and Caesar's cross-strait set off the power of Oran's technology, so Crane came here in person. As the Navy on the Crane warship gradually landed, Olan's experiment also entered a special stage. At this time, Orlan's laboratory was emitting a faint green light, and a special industrial pool was full of green Zon alchemy potions. As the device was activated, the green potion gradually dissipated, and the last thing left was a ball of silver-white gelatinous substance. When Orlan raised his arm towards it, the silver object also reacted to a certain extent. This pool of silver objects was the original Mercury fruit. Since the bloodline factor was deciphered, everyone in MADS has been thinking about different uses. The natural bloodline factor is the most difficult to operate, and no one has any clues, but Orlan has a special research direction, which is this pool of green potion. Come here. The silver gel crawled towards Orlan according to Orlan's instructions. The moment it came into contact with Orlan, it climbed up Orlan's arm and hid in the gap of Orlan's exoskeleton, as if it disappeared out of thin air. Defense mode, start. The silver gel ran out of the exoskeleton again. This time it did not disappear, but surrounded Orlan, forming a silver barrier. Even Orlan's body had an extra layer of silver battle clothes. Switch, weapon mode. More gel emerged from the exoskeleton and gradually condensed at the front of Orlan's arm, finally forming a forelimb like a mantis. Orlan waved at the prepared target. Although a lot of gel fell to the side, the metal target was cut in two, and the scattered gel returned to its original place along the exoskeleton of Orlan's leg as if attracted. If Vegapunk made the weapon eat the animal-type devil fruit and gave it special abilities, then Orlan made the alchemical potion of Zon and the fruit merged together. In Zon, this project is called ZAC, which means Zon Amorphous Combat Body, but those people did not succeed in researching it. There is only one sample that was born by chance, and people generally call it the biochemical demon Zac. I don't like to ask for something after the title every day. I think it affects the viewing experience, so I rarely add it. However, the following reading these 2 days is related to the promotion, so I will ask for it a little. Chapter 63-5 Black Lineup, Navy Headquarters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Many things are born by chance, and Zac is no exception. A pool of leaked venom flowed through the cracks of the alchemy technology facility into the sewer area of Zon, and accumulated in a deep and isolated pit. It was in this environment that Zac was born with consciousness and responded to external stimuli instinctively. A group of alchemy technology conspiracy noticed it and brought it back to the laboratory. After testing, they found that the gel had some kind of mental tendency. In simple terms, it can imitate the type of stimulation it receives. If it is caring and kind, it will respond with childlike joy and playfulness, but if it is inflicted with pain and irritation, it will fight back. The alchemy baron named Takeda Saito wanted to study more weapons, but two researchers disagreed. The two tried to counteract the violent teachings given by other members of the team. They wanted to let Zac distinguish right from wrong, so they let him experience selfless and generous acts of kindness. Their efforts paid off. Zac did not become a brutal killing machine, but a gentle creature who also regarded these two special researchers as family members. Finally, they took Zac and took the opportunity to escape from the laboratory, which naturally caused Takeda's dissatisfaction and began to order people to hunt them down. Finally, when they were desperate, they were protected by Oran, and Zac also had a new residence. Although Zac's birth was an accident, Oran was the one who knew him best. The special nature of the devil fruit made up for this accident to some extent, and finally created this Mercury Zac. Independent combat form. The Mercury gel broke away from Oran's exoskeleton and condensed into a humanoid creature beside him. Terminator, Venom, Black Light Virus, Moon Marrow Spirit Fluid, Biochemical Demon. This new Zac is more like a complex fusion with more comprehensive abilities. However, this work has a drawback. Today's Zac is the least intelligent one among all Oran's finished products. It now has poor self-awareness and its actions are completely dependent on commands. Come on, Zac, put this together. Oran gave Zac a small educational toy, a box with holes of different shapes on it, and various collections of similar shapes next to it. At first, Zac was very ignorant and didn't understand how to make this thing, but after Orlan demonstrated it once, Zac could immediately skillfully replicate Orlan's actions. Your learning ability is qualified, so there is no problem. Enter standby mode and grow slowly. Zac's figure began to shrink, and finally merged into Orlan's exoskeleton again. I have put together a canyon lineup without realizing it. It seems pretty good. Top single Wukong, jungle Zac, mid single Clockwork, AD Zeely, auxiliary robot. Although it includes 2 larvae and 2 modified melee versions, the lineup is still solid, and even an elemental dragon can be put together. When Orlan was testing Zac, he had already met Kate and Frankenstein who came to greet them. Father is very busy now. He will come to you after he finishes the experiment. Come with us first. Frankenstein's tone was not emotional. She always spoke to strangers in this manner. As for Kate, she didn't want to talk. She didn't think there was anything wrong before, but after seeing the Navy, she still felt a little disgusted, especially, the word justice on the coat made Kate feel disgusted. She knew that she couldn't kill a whole ship with one stick, but she didn't have the patience to distinguish the situation of each person, so it was difficult for her to have a good impression of this group. Sister why do I feel that they don't welcome us? Point one was expressionless, the other was silent. Anyone who was not a fool could feel that the atmosphere in the air was not right. The two people who led the way were more than 20 meters away from the Navy team. Guillaume, who felt something was wrong, whispered in his ear. It's not important. The attitude of Sidilir himself is the key. Are the personalities of these scientists so weird, that the Navy is not Bailey? It is not something that everyone likes. In the New World or the remote places of the Four Seas, the Navy is even a negative word like pirates. However, he was a little confused about what Oran was thinking. He was also present during the phone conversation, and it was generally pleasant, but now the attitude of a person who called Oran father was very cold. When someone went to find Vegapunk before, he was left outside for 3 days by Vegapunk until the experiment was over. Want to take more initiative in the conversation. What does this person want to do? If it was Garp who came, he would not care about this kind of thing at all, and would just pretend not to see it, but he was the chief of staff of the Navy. The more he thought about it, the more he felt something was wrong, and finally began to make up his mind, but in fact, Orlan just casually asked Kate and the others to deal with the matters at hand. At that time, Blitz was practicing boxing with Liliana, and Orlan had no other confidants around him. This was just a pure coincidence. Crane was even prepared to wait for a day or two. After all, Frankenstein had clearly stated that Orlan was doing experiments, but Orlan came here in the evening, without wasting too much time, leaving the housework to Kate and Blitz. Orlan took Frankenstein and followed Crane's warship to Marineford. Until the warship returned, Crane hadn't figured out what Orlan was planning. It takes a while to get from Daudu Island to the Navy headquarters. Orlan didn't show any disgust along the way, but Frankenstein kept a cold face. Crane's ship was full of female soldiers. Orlan basically didn't leave her room during the voyage. She usually taught Frankenstein and Zack, and all contact with the outside world was left to Frankenstein. This also made some female soldiers feel very awkward. Fortunately, this voyage did not last too long. After arriving at Marineford, their mission naturally ended, but Crane received some extra news at this time. What did you say? Were you delayed by pirates? How many days later? Olin came here to provide technical guidance and discuss technical upgrades, but the military doctors who were going to learn surgical methods were involved in a battle with a group of pirates on the way here, which delayed their trip. Dr. Sidilir, it looks like we'll have to delay you for a few more days. This sea is not peaceful, and this is an uncontrollable factor. It's okay, I understand. Just stay here for a few days. We'll arrange everything. Don't worry about safety. Marineford can be said to be one of the safest islands now. He arranged Oran's residence and left. As a chief of staff, she couldn't be idle. Father, those people are not right. Frankenstein didn't believe the safety that he said, but personally checked the situation here. She really found a few people with unusual behavior, as if they were deliberately avoiding something. Bolin was not familiar with the terrain here. If the generals of the Navy saw this, they would realize the problem. The direction those people were heading was exactly the residence of the family of the current admiral of the Navy headquarters, Black Arm Zefa. Chapter 64 Pirates from the Navy Headquarters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He was not joking when he said that before. The safety of Marineford is undoubtedly extremely high in the Grand Line. This is the headquarters of the Navy, where the Marshal sits. Generally, there will be generals staying here. In addition to the permanent fortifications and giant artillery built in Crescent Bay, ordinary pirates will never approach here, which is no different from committing suicide. However, this mechanism also determines that no one dares to approach such a place, and once someone approaches, it must be a real monster. In addition to the military function of the Navy headquarters, Marineford is also a very large town, where a large number of Navy families live, and the people living here are generally very relaxed. At this time, several people with nervous expressions appeared, which naturally attracted Frankenstein's attention. Can you confirm the identity? Please wait, comparing. Frankenstein is not an ordinary human after all. She has a lot of information in her mind. Orlan does not have the Navy's information database, but still transmits some pirate information to Frankenstein's memory through the bounty order. It is convenient to confirm the value of the other party and consider whether to exchange them for bounties. It can also prevent problems before they happen and eliminate some unexpected factors. Sorry, Father, there is no information about them in the database. Do you want me to follow and take a look? At the same time, a silver question mark appeared on Oran's shoulder, with a small yellow eye on it. This is the result of Zack's learning during this period. He has begun to learn how to use body language to express his wishes. During this period, he also tried to use his gel body to imitate the vocal organs, but the effect was not ideal. Now it can only make a buzzing sound. Let's go together. I am also curious about what these people want to do here. It doesn't matter if you worry too much. Just take it as a stroll in this town. After Oran's order, part of Zack's body split apart and flowed to the side along the sewer of Marineford. Soon after, the part of his body left on Oran also formed an arrow shape, indicating the direction of progress. After years of construction, Marineford has long become a special military fortress. In addition to the crescent bay and the square in front, there are 4 small hills around it that serve as watchtowers. In the center is the building of the Navy headquarters, which is also the Navy's office area, and around it are the family areas distributed layer by layer. In the middle and high-rise area, there is a not very big house. In the yard in front of the door, a child with purple hair is waving a wooden sword at the air, wearing a slightly worn red helmet on his head. Yeklik, why did you turn out your father's things again? A woman with short orange-brown hair came out, and she looked unhappy in her housewife's outfit. I'm not Yeklik, I'm Z. The strongest hero Z. I want to be a hero who protects this sea like my father. Then before you become a hero, can you explain to me why you dirty the freshly washed sheets? Looking at the sheets behind him that were dragged on the ground as a cloak, Yeklik seemed to realize the crisis. Even heroes have to retreat sometimes, so. The woman didn't want to listen to his explanation, and grabbed Yeklik, who wanted to escape, ready to carry him back to the room. You rummaged through your father's personal belongings and soiled the freshly washed clothes. When your father comes back, I will let him teach you a lesson. Heroes shouldn't cause trouble for others. It's strange, your father is very busy with his mission this time, and it seems that he was delayed again. The mother and son are Zefa's family. As the family of an active general, they are of course eligible to live in Marineford, and they are also allocated a single-family yard in this densely populated town. But they don't know that not far away, several people have already set their sights on them. Are you sure it's here? Yes, it's this family. The kid's hair is exactly the same as that bastard Zefa. He must be his family. Let's do it, boss. That guy made us sit in jail for several years. We finally escaped. We have to take revenge. Most of the Navy of this generation focuses more on physical skills, such as Kong Gonka, Garp Iron Fist, Sengoku of the Mythical Beast, and Zefa, who is codenamed Black Arm with his strong armed color, but Zefa's most outstanding feature is not Black Arm, but not killing, whether it is a pirate or other bounty criminals. His goal is mostly to arrest the other party and put them in prison, rather than killing them directly, strictly following the laws and regulations formulated by the world government. It is inevitable that people will die during the battle, which is unavoidable, but Zefa will never kill the surrendered pirates, but it is this habit that has left the foreshadowing of today. Not all prisoners will be imprisoned in Impelton. Many are imprisoned in the prison of the Navy branch nearby. This group of pirates is such an example. It seems that some kind of world government entertainment program is being held in the square. The soldiers patrolling nearby have gone to watch the fun. Boss, let's do it. If Zefa comes back, it will be too late. Do you need me to tell you? That guy ruined my dream. I will also ruin everything he has. Let's do it. Several pirates showed bloodthirsty smiles on their faces, took out their hidden weapons, and surrounded Zefa's residence. Crack. Clang. The window was smashed directly. the door was kicked open, the pirates rushed into Zefa's house and blocked his wife and children in the kitchen. "Don't come over. Don't come over. Someone, come. There are pirates." Zef's wife waved the kitchen knife in her hand randomly. She was just an ordinary woman. At the same time, she threw some rags at the stove that had not been turned off. She didn't understand why pirates could appear in the headquarters of the Navy and break into her home with weapons, but she knew that as long as they made enough noise, the nearby Navy would definitely come to support. Bang! Bang! 2 fireworks exploded in the sky outside the window. They were ordinary, but they shattered the last hope in Zefa's wife's heart. It's a celebration. She didn't think there would be pirates in such a place. Similarly, other Navy had never thought of such a thing. With the sound of the celebration, no one would notice the situation here in a short time. Yeklik, don't look back for a while, run as fast as you can to where there are many people, and then find someone to save your mother. Zef's wife realized how bad the situation was, and tried her best to open a way out for her son. He was the son of the Admiral of the Navy, and as long as the Navy saw him, they would definitely come to protect him, but her efforts were in vain. Although these were a few pirates who were not even qualified to be imprisoned in the Impel Downs, they were also adult men, and they had an absolute advantage in both numbers and physical strength. She didn't act immediately, just to see how the other party struggled. The knife she threw was easily blocked by the other party, and Yeklik, who ran away according to his mother's order, was kicked back. It's a pity that this is the Navy headquarters, otherwise we could have some fun, kill them, take away all the valuables, and burn down this house. Leave it to me, boss. I'm the best at dealing with this kind of thing. Just cut their throats and they can only watch themselves die. A pirate licked his blade and walked forward. He planned to kill the adults first, but Yeklik stabbed his instep with a fork that fell to the side. "Don't touch my mother. Asshole, since you're so impatient, you should die first." "What?" The pain on the instep aroused his anger, but when he wanted to swing the knife, a silver tentacle suddenly stretched out from the sink next to him and grabbed his arm. Chapter 65 The General Who Does Not Kill, Black Arm Zefa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The silver tentacles are naturally part of Zack's body. As a gel-like life form, Zack's most notable feature is that his body and consciousness can be split, the natural devil fruit plus Zaun's alchemical technology. Even if Zack is divided into dozens of parts, it cannot be killed. His vitality is extremely tenacious. Zack here is just a clone, but he understands one thing: killing the elderly, the weak, women and children for no reason is wrong and needs to be stopped, so he did it. What is this? Hey! Come and help. This thing is wrong. The pirate wanted to pull his arm out of Zack's restraints, but the silver-white unidentified object was as firm as handcuffs, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't shake it at all. The pirate tried to chop Zack with a weapon, but the blade was embedded in it and couldn't be pulled out at all. Now Zack's body is a very special component. Mercury and alchemical potions have produced this extremely special gel. In different situations, Zack can make his body present more diverse changes. A woman, a kid, do you need help with guys of this level? You are such a loser. The pirate next to him heard his cry and came over with curses, but before the pirate could get close, the part of Zack in the pool suddenly loosened and bounced over like a spring. The pirate who was previously bound by Zack lost his balance because of Zack's sudden relaxation, and the two of them collided with each other. Asshole. Ah. Oh. The silver colloid grabbed their heads and knocked them in the middle, then smeared them like dough. The extremely dense mercury blocked their mouths and noses, blocking their breathing channels. The pirates tried to grab it with their hands, but the extremely elastic colloid turned into a fluid. This was Zack's elemental mode. He had completely turned this part of his body into mercury. No matter how they grabbed it, the mercury ball was still trapped on their heads. The struggle of the body increased the consumption of oxygen, and a strong sense of suffocation suddenly surged into their hearts. Yeklik, run! Zef's wife didn't know what happened. The remaining pirates were looting property and preparing to set fire. The fall of these two pirates gave this deadly place another way to survive. Oh no! Stop them! That the other pirates also discovered the situation here and took action immediately. The leading pirate threw the weapon in his hand, but was knocked down by a silver whip out of thin air. A person with ability? Olan's figure appeared outside the gate. Following the guidance of Zack's clone, he also came over. Help! We are the family members of General Zefa, please help us. Facing the pirates who came to seek revenge, it was meaningless to emphasize Zefa's identity, but it was different when asking for help. Now this identity may play a greater role. It was with this idea that Zefa's wife shouted after seeing someone stop the attack. Zeph's family is interesting, there are many things hidden in it. A few pirates can bully women and children, but when they encounter stronger combat power, they are defeated in an instant. The silver tentacles waving with Oran's arms solved these troubles without much effort. Thank you. The crisis was resolved, but Zefa's wife's limbs suddenly softened, leaning against the door and breathing heavily. The stimulation brought by the life and death crisis was so great that her body triggered some stress reactions. Fran, go contact Vice Admiral Tsuru and ask her to come and deal with the Navy's own affairs, Fran. Father, there seemed to be someone monitoring here just now, but he disappeared. Stay alert and contact the Navy at headquarters first. Olan helped Zefa's wife sit back on the chair in the room, and told Frankenstein to contact the Navy. After receiving the news here, the Navy quickly sent a team of soldiers here. However, one of the soldiers quietly slipped out of the team after seeing the situation here. Oran did not notice the departure of a soldier. He was recalling things related to Zefa. In the original timeline, Zephyr's mentality changed drastically after his family died. Even though he was extremely unwilling, he put those pirates in jail instead of venting his anger through private means, but after that, Zephyr, who hated pirates more and more, did not use his status as an admiral to launch a more fierce attack on pirates, but chose to resign out of frustration. The principle of not killing made him arrest the pirates and put them in jail, but his resignation was very abnormal, obviously. His family died in a place where there should not be danger, which made him frustrated. The boss's strong retention made Zephyr, who still had a glimmer of hope for the Navy, become the chief instructor and began to train more Navy behind the scenes until the world government recruited the person who later cut off his arm as a Shichibukai. The Navy is the Navy, and the world government is the world government. Although the two institutions are in a superior subordinate relationship, the Navy, as a violent agency, has great independence, and Zephyr's personality is not liked by the world government. The world government needs a more decisive and quick swordsman who can resolutely execute the world government's orders, so between Akainu and Akiji, they are more optimistic about Akainu and advocate that he succeed the marshal. It was fine before, but as Zephyr was promoted to admiral, his proposal of not killing made the world government very dissatisfied. More importantly, some special groups began to look at Zephyr more and more unhappy, such as the Celestial Dragons. At this moment, what happened in Marineford has been conveyed to Mary Geos through special channels. Did the operation fail? Yes, Saint Satan, Sidilir, who was invited by the Navy to the Navy headquarters, happened to stop those pirates. The timing was very coincidental. In the familiar room, a CP-0 knelt on the ground, reporting the execution status of the mission. Satan still looked like he had everything under control. He planned all this. Is it more important to protect the celestial dragons or to protect the sea? In the eyes of the five elders, it is obviously the former. Zefa can grow to the level of admiral, and his strength is undoubtedly qualified, but Zefa's character cannot better serve the celestial dragons. Some time ago, Zefa interfered with the killing of a celestial dragon he was escorting because of his sense of morality, which made the celestial dragon very unhappy and has been using his family power to accuse Zefa of his behavior. The world government does not intend to give up such a combat power, so it wants to prompt him to make some changes and also teach him some lessons. Let the pirates kill Zefa's family to let Zefa know how stupid his behavior of not killing and disrespecting is. They want to use this as an excuse to make him more radical, hate pirates, and become a killing machine willing to work for the government. Without help from here, let alone action, it is unrealistic for ordinary pirates to find Zefa's family. Pirates don't have the intelligence network of the world government, and Zefa won't be so idle that he publishes his family situation in the newspaper every day. To be more precise, most of the ordinary soldiers in the Navy can't tell the family situation of the senior generals of the Navy, let alone these pirates. Saint Satan, what's next? No need to continue. Once is accidental, twice is too deliberate. The Navy will strengthen its defense after this, although the person is not dead, the effect should be similar. We just need to see his reaction next. By the way, what happened to those pirates? Most of them were killed by Sidilir. He seems to have become a natural ability user with strong strength. One was captured alive. Let the remaining person disappear. This matter ends here. Yes. This is Satan's usual style. Except for the celestial dragons, ordinary people are just insects in his eyes. It doesn't matter if a few die for his own purpose, even the Navy is just a hound. Even if the hound that cannot be tamed is strong enough, it will be abandoned after its value is exhausted. When Satan's casual words decided the life and death of other people, Zefa also looked very irritable on a warship. Full speed ahead. Return to Marineford immediately. Chapter 66. I owe you a favor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zef is very upset now. He didn't expect that he would encounter such a bad thing when he led the Navy to perform missions as usual. Just now, someone told him that his family was attacked by pirates who wanted to retaliate against him. Zef got married relatively late. He married his wife when he was promoted to Admiral 4 years ago. Although the great pirate era has not yet begun, the turmoil on the sea has already arrived. Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, these monsters have begun to move around in various seas. Even Garp, a street slicker, is repeating the action of hunting Roger. As an active admiral, Zef is naturally busy. Even a short vacation must be ready to respond to emergency actions at any time. In order to see his family more often, he has already taken them to Marineford. This place has existed as the headquarters of the Navy for many years, and the surrounding family areas have been built long ago. However, in this iron wall-like environment, such a dark thing happened. What are you dawdling about? Why are you still so slow? Report to Admiral Zefa, we are already at full speed. Today's wind direction is not suitable. We have tried our best. Shut up. It's not fast enough. It can be faster. Keep speeding up. Yes, yes. The furious Zefa made the soldiers behind him feel unfamiliar. Super reliable, kind, and gentle. This is the most intuitive feeling that Zefa brought to his soldiers. It was the first time he was so angry in the 4 years since he became an admiral. No. It's still not fast enough. Give me the permanent pointer of the headquarters. That even though the soldiers have tried their best to speed up, Zefa is still not satisfied with the current situation. After getting the spare permanent pointer from the adjutant, Zefa stood directly on the turret at the bow. You return to the ship as planned. Admiral Zefa. It's still 2 days sailing from here to the headquarters. You. Bang. The adjutant saw what Zefa wanted to do, but before he finished speaking, Zefa had already jumped into the air, and the air was stomped by Zefa, making bursts of explosions. Using the moon step in the 6 styles, Zefa rushed to the headquarters alone. What kind of hero is this if a hero of justice can't even protect his family, who he should protect the most? Zephyr's belief fluctuated for the first time at this moment, and his speed was a few points faster than before. It would take 2 days and 2 nights for a warship to travel at full speed, but he only took a quarter of the time to complete this journey. Boom. In the square of Marineford, accompanied by a loud bang, 2 large pits were stepped out of the bricks and stones on the ground, and Zefa also walked out with smoke and dust. Where are they? General Zefa. Let me ask you again, where are my family members now? Zefa, calm down, they are fine, just a little frightened, and are now recuperating in the hospital. He rushed over from the side. When Zefa was informed of what happened, Zefa hung up the phone in a hurry. He guessed the general situation. When Zefa chose to travel alone, his adjutant also reported the intelligence to the headquarters, so he had been waiting for Zefa here for a long time. As soon as he finished speaking, Zefa disappeared again. It was obvious that he must have gone to the hospital. It was not until he saw with his own eyes that his family was fine that Zefa's hanging heart was put down. How are they? Madam has some burns and abrasions, and Yeklik has some bruises on her abdomen. It's not a big problem. Don't worry, General Zefa. Don't worry. How can you let me worry after something like this? Who are those two people? Why are they here? Zefa is still watching the situation inside through the window. He needs to calm down and can't just go in, but in the intensive care unit, he saw two people with pink hair. It's Dr. Sidilir and his daughter. The headquarters invited them to give guidance on prosthetics. They saved Madam and son at that time. If it weren't for them, the situation might be worse. The military doctor on the side told Zefa what happened before. It also explained why Orlan and Frankenstein stayed here. Even if Yeklik shouted that he wanted to be a hero like Zefa, he was just a child now. The previous events caused him a lot of fear, and he developed a sense of dependence on the savior at that time, but Zefa frowned. This had never happened in Marineford before, and he could accept that the defense was lax for a while. Because of the celebration, many people gathered in the square, which he could accept, but these things together were a bit too coincidental. What a coincidence! General Zefa, what did you say? The doctor did not hear Zefa's mumbling clearly, and put away the medical record and asked again. Nothing, you go take care of the other wounded. Since their injuries are fine, you don't have to keep your energy here. After adjusting his mood, Zefa gently pushed open the door of the ward. Are all ability users so magical? The abilities on the sea are all kinds of strange, releasing fire and thunder, creating storms and earthquakes. There are many such ability users, and many abilities can play unexpected roles. Great, I also want to be an ability user. This was the first voice Zefa heard. He found that his son had a yearning for the power of the devil fruit at this moment. This is also very normal. Children over 3 years old are at the stage of forming values. When he saw the ability person saving him at this time, he instinctively felt envious. With Zefa's ability, it is not difficult to get the devil fruit, but he pays more attention to the development of the body, so he did not let Yeklik come into contact with the devil fruit too early, but he is just a 3-year-old child. He can't be much stronger after training. Liliana's situation is an exception. There are not many people with such talent in the whole sea. When he sighed at the ability described by Oran, Yeklik's tone suddenly became excited. My dad is back. He is the admiral of the navy and a super powerful person. If my dad was at home before, those pirates would definitely have no chance. Yeklik noticed Zefa on the side and introduced Zefa's identity to Oran enthusiastically. Listening to his son's description of himself, Zefa felt bitter in his heart. He was almost going to lose these. Squeezing a smile on his face, Zefa bowed to Oran. I've heard about it. Thank you for saving my family. I owe you a favor. Then Zefa stood up and continued. I will never forget this. If you have any requests in the future, just let me know. I will do my best within my ability. However, Oran's reply interrupted Zefa's thoughts. Oran did not seem to be very excited about the general's favor, but asked another question calmly. What if this matter is within your ability, but violates your principles? Chapter 67. Once suspicion arises, the crime is established. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Olan's words were forcibly silenced by Zefa. Zefa didn't like to lie, and at the same time he was a person who valued principles extremely. When his wife and children were killed in the original timeline, he suppressed the grief and anger in his heart and did not kill the pirates, but threw them back into prison. Now when someone tells him face to face that he wants him to violate his principles, no matter how he responds, it feels wrong. Just kidding, it's just a little effort, I won't embarrass you that much, General Zefa, since you are back, we won't delay your family reunion. Fran, let's go. After waving goodbye to Zefa's son, Oran greeted Frankenstein and left the ward. seeing the smile on his son's face, Zefa's sadness dissipated a bit, but he didn't feel much relieved. He owed a lot of this favor, and it looked like it wouldn't be that easy to repay it. "Father, what do you want him to do for you?" Following Olin, Frankenstein asked slightly curiously. "I haven't thought about it yet, and I'm not in a hurry. Favors are no different from debts. Zefa attaches great importance to principles. If you grasp this level, it will be of great use in the future. It is not a wise choice to talk about this matter every day and repay a favor. This will arouse disgust and even breed hatred in the long run. Oran wants to take this opportunity to develop a relationship network with Zefa. In any case, Zefa is now one of the top combat powers. The heart is an extremely important part of this ocean. Once the heart is broken, the body is out of shape, and the strength is greatly reduced. Things like this will happen one after another. Today's Zefa is not in a state of extreme mental collapse, broken arms, and asthma. He is still the admiral who can confront Roger and Whitebeard head-on. I'm really curious whether Zefa knows anything more. At this time, there were many more Navy patrolling the streets. With this incident, the Navy's vigilance against Mtlnovel became much higher. Olin, a new face, had already had his pass checked twice on this stretch of road. "Father, you mean?" "Nothing, just a little speculation." Thanks to a certain Oda's peculiar thinking, the God of Valley incident caused the logic of many things to become weird. With Zefa's non-killing character, he would definitely not agree with an incident like the Valley of Gods. The actions of the Tianlong people are escorted by the Navy, and it is impossible for them to kill all the escort fleets every time, so it is strange that this matter has not been revealed for so many years. Perhaps the soldiers only thought that they were performing an ordinary escort mission. Perhaps they felt that this kind of thing was normal and not worth mentioning at all. Or maybe there was a fleet of trusted personnel directly affiliated with the world government who was responsible for this matter. The soldiers can still be suspicious, but what is certain is that every naval marshal is aware of this. The reason why he hesitated to ask Garp to support when the incident occurred shows all this. After all, it is impossible for the world government to allow a person who is not loyal enough to ascend to the position of Navy Admiral, but this is not necessarily the case for high-ranking generals, although there is no doubt that Garp's behavior after arriving at the Valley of the Gods was to join forces with Roger to defeat Rox. But before that, he did not know why the celestial dragons gathered on that remote island in the Western Sea. He even asked about the school trip, but in the end Sora used Roger's appearance as an excuse to get him there. The accompanying lineup of the Tianlong people includes members of the Knights of God and the 5 Old Stars. The high-end combat power is sufficient. It is not surprising that they did not inform other senior generals about this matter. There is no reason for superiors to report things to subordinates. After all, Marineland is a military port town. It is not a place for travel, and there are many restricted areas. When Oran returned to his residence, Zack also emerged from his hands again, but this time Zack's body remained shaking. The body structure integrated with the natural system allows Zack to adjust his size at will. In theory, before Zack's cell energy is exhausted, he can make himself infinitely larger with Mercury, but this will not change his body structure. At this time, Zack is obviously missing a part of his body, and that part of his body is now left in the hospital. Zack was not trembling at this time, but was sending Morse code through long and short symbols. He had not learned how to use body tissue to imitate vocal organs. It was too complicated to use the body to form characters. This kind of binary code became special way of communication. At the same time, most of the patients in the hospital had fallen asleep deeply, and outside the ward, in addition to Zefa, the general who kept vigil at night, the current Marshal Kong also came here. Zefa. Marshal Kong, I asked you to make a special trip. I can't get out of here right now. It's okay, I can understand your mood. For a long time, people have been too lax about the peace of this headquarters, which eventually led to this accident. As the Marshal, I cannot blame you. Accident. Marshal Kong, is this really an accident? Zefa's expression was a little complicated, and then he started talking to himself. I was born on a military port island, and the Navy that trained every day made me yearn for it when I was young. At the age of 14, I joined the Naval Academy. From then on, The game of playing hero ended and the hard work of becoming a hero began. When I graduated at the age of 18, I served in the G5 branch. Sengoku, Crane, and Garp all joined around this time. My military rank was not promoted quickly, but when I was promoted to junior non-commissioned officer at the age of 28, I had already mastered the 6 styles. At the age of 34, I had the nickname of Black Arm Hockey is a good thing. It allows me to better protect my subordinates. Promoted to general 4 years ago. Marshal Kong, are you still sure that this is just an accident? Zefa has many scars on his body. From a recruit to a general, he has always led by example. These scars are the military medals he left to practice his ideals. I'm sorry, but this is really an accident. This matter can only be an accident, and it must be an accident. Kong gave Zephyr this answer without much thought. Among the 3 known marshals, Kong, Sengoku, and Akainu, Kong is undoubtedly the most loyal to the world government. After Sengoku inherited his position, Kong also directly became the commander-in-chief of the world government's entire army, in charge of all the violent agencies of the world government. Is that so? I know. I'm really sorry to bother you so late, Marshal Kong. Zefa closed his eyes and leaned against the wall behind him, looking like he didn't plan to say anything more. After that, Zack also stopped transmitting the code, and his body, like a drop of water, slid into the inconspicuous crack in the ground. Father, he doesn't seem to get the answer he wants. The answer is no longer important to him. No matter what the truth is, when this suspicion arises, the charge will also appear. It depends on how far he can persist. Rest, Fran, it's late at night. After writing down this sentence, Frankenstein found a position very close to the socket. The Navy headquarters also has electricity, which is good news for her. Then she inserted her finger into it and began her own electricity storage behavior. Chapter 68 Power Outage and New Recruits. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Troublesome guy, it seems like I made a mistake making a deal with him. At dawn, Olin woke up on time and then rubbed his head. It's not because of fatigue. Because of Olin's special dream ability, his body can always get the best rest. The dream clone will not bring back the tiredness, but the experience in the dream will not disappear, so Olin needs a certain amount of rest. Time to digest this stuff. Yesterday, he just punched all night long. Nowadays, Seti has lost his bronze-fingered tiger and relies on a pair of black fists to beat others to their knees in the black boxing ring every day. Based on the difference in time flow and Seti's progress, Oran felt that next time he saw Seti, this kid might have to cultivate his full body armor color. Olin's rest time was relatively fixed, and it was still dark at this time, so he casually pulled the light cord of the bedside lamp. Snap, the rope made a sound, but the lamp did not light up. The quality of the stuff from the Navy headquarters is really bad. At this time, Olin didn't realize there was any problem. He simply thought there was something wrong with the lamp, until he discovered that everything using electricity in the room seemed to have problems. Fran, what did you do last night? In addition to the patrols on the street outside, you can also see the Navy holding toolboxes to repair equipment. Thinking of Frankenstein's ability and character, Olin has already guessed something. Rest, eat, nothing else. Frankenstein answered truthfully. For Frankenstein, eating is equal to recharging. With her physical condition, eating ordinary food not only cannot replenish energy, but also consumes extra energy to process them. According to Frankenstein's somewhat stingy character, it would be impossible for him to take the initiative to eat meaningless food. Energy is the special food that Frankenstein needs. This short-circuit situation is very similar to the situation that occurred on the MADS research ship. Free electricity seemed to her like an opportunity to freeload. How long have you been charging? The whole night. The power went out before it was fully charged. Because the Navy headquarters is an important military town, the circuit design is divided into regions. Damage in one area will not affect the whole. The Navy should be grateful for this design, otherwise they will know today what the consequences of an island-wide blackout will be. The core of Frankenstein is not an ordinary battery, but the hex crystal plus the storage fruit. When these two things are fused together, it can be called a bottomless pit, and as time goes by, the difficulty of charging is ever increasing. One day, Frankenstein's battery may be as difficult to charge as it is to charge a phone bill. It is good that the Navy headquarters has electricity for people to use. In this sea, high-power electrical appliances are a rare thing, but Oran and the others left a mystery. For a long time, no one at the Navy headquarters could figure out what kind of power-consuming items Olan had on him. Speaking of Fran's habit, we need to consider the power of the power station in the future. Oran added another note to his plan. Although he doesn't have his own territory yet, he is just doing corresponding research at the place prepared by Feld, but this is only temporary. According to Olan's plan, after this incident is over, he will prepare to move to a suitable island to build his own base. Will there be oil in Alabasta? That when Oran was looking for a suitable area on the sea map, he happened to see the desert country of Alabasta. Compared with most countries, the territory here is very vast, and there may be a lot of untapped resources hidden in it. There is no mold in this place, and most countries have no idea of developing oil resources. If there is oil, then this desert will be a natural cornucopia. Malinfando's logistics work was still able to keep up, and the circuits in this area were repaired soon, but by this time it was already dawn, and several warships began to approach Malinfando. The number of people carried by warships also varies depending on the model. Large warships can carry as few as 800 people and as many as more than 1,000 people. Subtle adjustments will be made according to the actual situation and mission objectives. The different markings on the sails meant that the warships came from different branches, and these were the ones who were supposed to arrive days ago: military doctors who were preparing to study, wounded soldiers with special conditions, soldiers who were about to be awarded medals and promoted, and recruits who had recently joined the army. There were more people in the square. The most eye-catching thing about these people is Mit, who is equipped with a metal arm, and some unruly recruits. Mit is a typical example created by the world government some time ago, so it is understandable that he is more famous, but people's attention is more on Mit's arm. Is he the Mit with the iron arm? I heard that the entire hand is made of machinery, and it is exactly the same as a real hand. Why do you have to wear a bandage on a prosthetic hand? It doesn't make any sense. Whatever, it may be a personal habit. Can newspapers still lie to people? I heard that he killed a pirate with a bounty of 50 million with that hand. 50 million? Is it so powerful? I don't remember it being this number. You must have remembered it wrong. A group of people kept whispering, and the thin sounds also reached Mit's ears. This kind of words can't make Mit feel any mood swings at all now. He has long been used to it. When he was in the branch before, he asked questions to his familiar colleagues every day, and he almost took the prosthesis apart to see the structure. It looks very powerful, don't you think, Sakaski? Mit's arm also attracted the interest of many recruits. Generally, recruits do not need to come to the Navy headquarters. Usually they stay in the branch where they sign up. Even if they graduate from the Naval Academy, not all soldiers waiting for the headquarters to be assigned will come here. Those who can be sent here by warships are the best recruits from all over the country. The person who was speaking at this time was wearing a white vest and a yellow short-sleeved shirt. His orange-yellow sunglasses made it difficult to see his eyes. Except for the words Navy on his melon-shaped hat, it was impossible to tell that he was a recruit. It would be better to say that he looked more like a street kid now. His name is Borsellino, 26 years old this year, a monster newly recruited by the Navy. The local branch no longer has the ability to teach him, so he was sent to the headquarters in the hope that he would receive a better education. On the recruit ship, he met a person who was quite talkative. Sakaski. He wears a standard Navy cap and the same red short-sleeved shirt as Borsellino. A flower-like tattoo can be seen on his left chest, and a sword is on his back. He is only 23 years old this year, but like Borsellino, he is called a monster rookie. He lost his original arm and is still fighting on the front line. He is a respectable soldier. You are still so serious. I am not talking about him, but the arm. It is said that it was invented by the winner of the last Ibel Medical Award. It is said that it was because of that arm that he was promoted to colonel smoothly. Why haven't I heard about this news? Maybe you are too serious. No one dares to talk to you. Is that so? This is a meaningful invention. It would be better if there were more inventors like this, so that justice can be implemented more thoroughly. Chapter 69. You, a man with thick eyebrows and big eyes, want to trick me into signing a contract to. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dr. Sidilir, long time no see. I always wanted to thank you in person again, but unfortunately I never had the chance. In a conference room at the Navy headquarters, Olan and Mit met again. Mit always had a kind of respect for Olan, who gave him a new life. However, he has been struggling on the front line in the past few years, and there is no fixed position in Oran, so there is no chance of meeting him. If he hadn't happened to meet the example set by the world government, Mit's promotion speed would not have been so fast. Except for those newcomers who were born monsters, the early promotion speed of most navies was not fast. Even Zefa took 10 years to become a junior non-commissioned officer after officially entering the battlefield at the age of 18. After that, it became much faster. With the explosive growth of strength, it took another 10 years. Time became the youngest general at that time. It's nothing, I just gave you a chance. Everything you did today was made by yourself. You're welcome. If it weren't for this arm, I would still be drunk in the town. Wait a minute, take this thing apart and show it to me. Looking at Mit's prosthetic body, Olan felt that it seemed to have gone through a lot of hardships over the years. Compared with the meticulous appearance when it first appeared, which was as detailed as a human arm, now it seemed to have gone through a lot of unprofessional repairs. The artificial skin was damaged in large areas, and the repaired parts also had an unnatural feel. Raising his hand to grab the metal tube connecting the prosthetic body to the body, Zach's body extended along Olan's palm and opened all the safety locks in 1 second. When Olan took the prosthetic body into his hands, Mit didn't even react. Even though he had been using this thing for several years, it would still take several minutes to remove it. At this time, Mit even suspected that he had used it too much, causing his arm to fall into disrepair. The shoddy welding must have been a bit laggy recently, right? Looking at the scar-like welding marks and damaged artificial muscle tissue on the mechanical humerus, Olan, as a designer, could already predict the problems that would arise during use. Occasionally, but it's just a little stiff, and it gets better soon. That's because the debris was crushed by the joint part, and it won't work in the long run. Not bad. After all, this thing was originally designed for civilian use, not even police equipment. Mit forcibly brought an ordinary prosthetic limb to a more intense place, and as the intensity of his battle increased, this prosthetic body became increasingly unable to keep up with the intensity of the battle. At first, the enemies were helpless against the steel arms. As the enemies gradually gained the ability to cut through iron, the arms were no longer a universal insurance. This is also the reason why we invited you here, Dr. Sidilir. Your prosthetic technology should not be limited to this. Warring States General. Lieutenant General Crane. Mit wanted to salute, but his right arm was now in Olan's hand. In the end, he was stunned for a moment and made a rather strange movement. Sengoku just waved his hand casually and didn't care. Mit was not a key role. Mit was only here because he was a beneficiary of prosthetic technology. Of course, as long as the price is right, there are ways to upgrade this set of prosthetics, but which step you take depends on your needs. General of the Warring States period, Dr. Sidilir, since I have nothing to do with you, I'll leave here first. Seeing that Sengoku and Oran were interested in negotiating, Mit wisely planned to leave first, but he stopped him. No need, Captain Mit, you can just listen on the sidelines. This matter was never intended to be hidden. As the actual user of the prosthetic body, you can also provide more valuable opinions. Before the award ceremony, Mit's military rank remained unchanged. Only friends would call him colonel in advance. In private, under his instruction, Mit stayed here, but also stood silently at the back. It was a bit inappropriate for him to sit aside in this situation, and finally stood at the door with Frankenstein, the doctor's daughter. It must have been her a few years ago. Speaking of which, the doctor's face doesn't seem to have changed much over the years. How old is he? Can't we absorb a little bit of the electricity here? While the two door gods were thinking about trivial matters, the conversation between warring states and Oran also got to the point. The Navy has its own independence, and most of what they do does not require additional reporting. As Sora's promising successor, Sengoku can represent the wishes of the Navy's top brass, and he have enough to complete the follow-up negotiations. The price is in place. Dr. Sidilir, you should understand that if you are referring to the cost of hundreds of millions of Baileys, then you can stop here today. Of course not, but if you want it, I can get you a piece at that price, which will definitely make you feel it's worth your money. The cost can be adjusted according to the needs of the product. It depends on the strength you want. If it is just a prosthetic body of an ordinary soldier, then 1 million Bailey can be used to get it. It is also a basic model, and the manufacturing of the military version is even simpler than the civilian version on MIT. The technical level is the same, the only difference is the material. For the sake of combat efficiency, the military version will give up aesthetics to a certain extent. For example, the artificial skin can be shaved off, and it will even be simplified on many levels, and some electronic components will be deleted. The reason is simple. The simpler the mechanical structure, the lower the probability of damage. The key is to be strong and durable. Not counting the material cost, this is easier to manufacture. Adding a dedicated weapon module and expanding the scope of modification are all within our capabilities. I have a rough price list here. You too can take a look. Olan slid over a form with prices for various types of prostheses and accessories. This is not an ordinary world, but an extraordinary world. Individual combat power can even cause the collapse of islands, so the basic prosthesis has a limit in terms of its capabilities, and cutting steel is the first threshold. Exceeding this threshold, the strength of steel and flesh and blood will exceed people's understanding and need to be further strengthened. As a steel creation, the pacifist in the original timeline has a cost comparable to that of a large warship, but its role in the new world is still not high, but outside the new world. This thing can basically walk sideways. Olan's prosthesis also has similarities, but his target is not those high-level combat power. When their strength reaches that level, they will not mind using technology to repair limbs after losing them due to accidents, but they will never give up their original bodies for a mechanical creation. The biggest role of cheap and mass-produced prostheses is to improve the basic combat power. Dr. Sidilir, we don't doubt your technology, but we have a new proposal. What do you think about joining the Navy Science Corps? Chapter 70. Isn't this what your Navy does? You are listening at novelfull.audio. I have no intention in this regard. If I had this idea, then last year I was absorbed by the world government together with Vegapunk. As a part of the government, can you offer a better price than the world government? Oran is not interested in being incorporated. He is interested in the position of the Shichibukai because the Shichibukai itself has a high degree of autonomy. The scientific force sounds like a good name, but the problem is that this thing is also part of the Navy's order of battle. Joining is equivalent to being under the direct jurisdiction of the Navy, which changes its nature. The orders of the scientific force are also military orders, so I'm afraid there will be a lot of chaos. Olan's plan was to take a few orders, give paid lessons to the military doctors sent by the Navy to study, and advertise at the same time. In any case, the Navy is the largest armed force on the sea now, and it is more trustworthy in the hearts of most people, same as Navy. This is a ready-made advertising slogan. Strong individual combat power will not give up the original body, but such people are rare in the sea. For ordinary people, new arms can bring about qualitative changes. Mid is such an example. He was promoted to Colonel 3 levels in a row, which was inseparable from the help his arms gave him. What's more, in this sea, there is no shortage of rich people who are weak and cherish their lives, but these people are not necessarily the same. Small profits but quick turnover is Olan's idea, but it doesn't say it can't do private customization. The channels he is currently developing in the underground world are used to prepare for this aspect. If he is really incorporated now, many things will be restricted. Although the Navy is a subordinate agency of the world government, we still have certain differences. We also have a little understanding of Dr. Vegapunk's situation. Although the price offered by the Navy cannot exceed that of the world government, we have a higher degree of freedom. No matter how free you are, it's not as convenient as making your own decisions. I'm here to discuss business, not to join the army. At this time, I'd better communicate in a businessman's way, assuming that I agree to your employment. How should the fees be settled? The current situation is outsourcing, and material costs and technology costs are included. After recruitment, the Navy logistics can solve the material problem, but it will also be close to the cost price. By then, the business will no longer be a business. Dr. Sidilir, Dr. Vegapunk speaks highly of you. As a winner of the Ibel Prize, don't you want to make more contributions to the world? Your abilities can play a key role in the peace of the sea. If you say that, it doesn't seem impossible. Let me think about it. Absolute autonomy, sufficient funds, an exclusive laboratory no smaller than Punkhasad, and a private territory about the same size as Alabasta. Wait, doctor, are you kidding me? Funding and autonomy are easy to talk about. It is reasonable for the scientific force to obtain military expenditures. Although the scale of the exclusive laboratory is a bit large, it is not impossible. But starting from the private territory, Oran's requirements have been separated from the Lion University. It's out of the scope of speaking. Looking at all the countries that have joined the world government, Alabasta is also among the largest in terms of area. How could the Navy find such a big place for him? Are they going to rob it? This was what Warring States was thinking, but he didn't say it out loud. But for some reason, he felt that Olan's eyes revealed a special meaning. Isn't this what your Navy does? Mr. Warring States, you were the one who joked with me first. I use my skills in exchange for benefits to make my life better. This is a reasonable thing. I can't afford to wear the high hat of world peace, equivalent exchange. This is fair. Let's talk about the price. Olan's attitude said everything, and Warring States didn't continue to say anything. Their main purpose was still cooperation, and the recruitment was just a more ideal situation. It didn't matter if it couldn't be achieved. Hey, I leave it to you. You are better at this. Sengoku continued without asking for trouble. After all, he couldn't hold Oran here and force him to do anything. For technical talents, this kind of behavior is undoubtedly the stupidest, especially when the opponent is a neutral and friendly unit. In the subsequent negotiations, Warring States even suspected that Olan was a little smart. Warring States did not understand how a person could freely switch his speaking style between a Philistine businessman and a professional scholar. Sidilir. Interesting. Meanwhile, back in Mariajoya, Sartane was checking in on what was going on in the Navy conference room via a phone bug. He's greedy, Sartane. The bald Nashuro reminded Sartane that there were only 2 of them in the room at this time, and the other 3-5 old stars didn't know what to do. Greed is sometimes a good thing, but people who don't ask for anything are the ones who are really in trouble. Greed means that he will be impressed. Unfortunately, his scientific research ability is worse than that of Vegapunk. Otherwise, Sidriel's character may be more suitable for us. When you go out, your personality is given by yourself. This is how Olan has shaped himself during this period. Most people feel that Olan's abilities are more focused on medicine and are not as good as Vegapunk in other fields. Only Vegapunk and a few other people know that Olan's ability is not inferior to Vegapunk at all, and is even more difficult to deal with. After all, Vegapunk is an ideal pacifist who doesn't want to delve too much into weapons, but Orlan doesn't care about this, and is more keen on having powerful weapons. Without the deterrence of force, the use of new inventions is often not up to the developers. Prosthetic transformation is a good idea. Don't CP9 have many eliminated agents every year? Let those people undergo full-body transformation, which should be able to play a greater role. Let's see the effect of the Navy first. At this time, the content of the conversation has reached the scope of prosthetic transformation. The current idea of the Navy is to let the disabled soldiers regain mobility, but Satan, who already has some understanding of technology, has a deeper idea, such as transforming a healthy person. CP9 has a small number of qualified people every year, and many failed members have been sent to other CP departments, and some have died directly under high-intensity training. Instead of letting them waste resources in vain, it is better to increase some investment and let them play a greater As for their personal wishes. Since joining the CP department, the personal ideas of these people have become unimportant. They have only two choices: obey the arrangements of the world government or be liquidated. However, Satan does not intend to invest additional funds. He has already regarded the Navy as a ready-made test product. If it is effective, Satan will have further ideas.